Reason 365,422 to support us on Patreon. We had our account locked. Our server was locked over the weekend, and turned out it was time to pay the bill, and it was a doozy. And under normal circumstances, it would have caused quite an issue, but because of our patrons, we had money in our account, and we were able to quickly move that over, pay our dues, and get our account turned back on to where you really didn't notice, I don't think, that our account had been frozen. We appreciate our patrons, so please head over to patreon.com/comicsfunprofit and support us at any level to keep the lights on. Literally, figuratively, keep the lights on. And we appreciate those of you who do. Thank you so much.
Aloha, this is Jason from Hawaii. Welcome to a special edition of the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. In this episode, I will be interviewing artist Tom Reilly. He's here to promote Antman. It is a 4-part miniseries celebrating Antman's 60th anniversary. And I'll be honest to you, I didn't know that until I read the issue this morning. But yeah, so now it's from Marvel Comics. The first issue is out today on July 27th. I know, listeners, when you guys listen to this, it's going to be sometime in August. So the second issue will be coming out on August 31st. And also, Tom is also the artist on the 6-part The Thing miniseries that came out last year. But The Thing, the next big thing trade paperback, comes out sometime in end of August or beginning of September, depending on, I know release schedules changes, so just if you guys can catch the trade paperback when it comes out at that time, that'd be awesome. Tom, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for having me on the show. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. Tom, thank you very much. And then, Tom, I gave you a warning because as we do podcasts, we have to wet our whistle a bit and stuff. What are you drinking tonight?
I'm having a beer. I'm having a Pacifico Cerveza, just a kind of regular beer.
No, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing fancy.
Mm-hmm. Actually, no, mine's is nothing fancy. All I'm doing is drinking a Diet Bart root beer. So.
Oh, nice. The classic.
All right. So, Tom, I'm just going to go over your comic book history work. And, Tom, please feel free to just throw things in there or correct me. So I know you did some work for Marvel. One of them was a Mighty Marvel Holiday Special Halloween with the Ringo Infinity Comics exclusive on Marvel Unlimited. Hopefully I got that correct.
I think so, yeah. It was just on the online Marvel kind of webcomic format.
Yes.
And it was a 10-page. They don't do pages on those. They told me it was a 50-panel thing, which equates to about 10 pages. And it featured Spider-Man and the Rhino.
Oh, that's
and it's a fun story. I'm pretty sure that's still up. People
actually
check it out.
Do you know what? I'm sorry. It is the Rhino. I have a misspelling. No wonder I was going, what is Ringo?
Oh, Ringo. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's
I get it.
The Rhino.
Okay. He did draw one of the best Spider-Men, though, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was included in some sort of Ringo collection.
And then also you've done Marvel Snapshots X-Men #1.
Mm-hmm.
You did Thor the Unworthy #1. And then also now correct me if I'm wrong, you did either a couple issues or a one-shot during the Immortal Hulk run series. Is that correct?
I did one half of an issue sometime in 2019. So I just did a 10-page stint on that. And that was a lot of fun. I got to draw the whole kind of big splash page. So that's all you could really ask for.
That's really, and were you working with Al Ewing at that time as well?
He was the writer, yeah. So I didn't work with him a lot. A lot more recently worked with him, so.
No, that's pretty cool. Excuse me. And then for Dark Horse, you did the 2-part story of Astra Hustle. Is that correct?
I did, yeah. That was my first book.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. And then I know you did a variant cover for Dead Dogs Bite #4. It was like this is what the research I did was like one of the variant covers or something like that.
Yeah. It's one of my friends, Tyler Boss's creator-owned book, Dead Dogs Bite. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
People should pick it up and check it out.
Okay. All right. Now, for our listeners, Tom, is there any of your past works that you want listeners to really check out?
Anything that you'd think you'd be interested in. I like that X-Men one shot that I did with Darrin, who's the editor of Antman, Darrin Shan, and the writer Jay Edidin is maybe the foremost expert on Cyclops, who the comic centers on.
Mm-hmm.
He gets the character really well, and it was a lot of fun to do. Okay. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the Thing. I'm very proud of the Thing. Working with Walter Mosley was a privilege. He's a super nice guy.
That is nice.
And I basically just got to draw a bunch of crazy fight scenes in every issue, which is every comic artist's dream. So, and they just got crazier and crazier kind of as the series went on. And it was a lot of fun.
Oh, that is pretty cool.
But anything anyone would want to check out, I would be grateful.
Okay. All right. Now, before we, begin the interview, before I start asking questions, I want to give a big shout out to Sue Lee. Now, Sue is the writer and artist for an upcoming Vampirella series from Dynamite that should be coming out, I think, in August. And she will be the artist on Carmilla. It's going to be a Dark Horse graphic novel that's going to come out in 2023. Now, Sue had a hand in setting up this interview. So, Sue, thank you very much for doing this. Thank you very much. Tom, I'm just going to ask you, want to add anything to that?
I think that Sue is great. Thanks, Sue, for getting me to come on the show, asking me to come on the show. I've seen some of the Carmilla work that she's doing. It's really good.
Oh, that's nice.
And I'm excited for people to check that out when it comes out.
And that, sorry, off the cuff question, Tom, because I know Sue has her Twitch show, correct? Are you on that one? Are you guys?
I'm on it. Yeah, when we do it, I'm on that show.
Oh, okay.
When I can be. Sometimes I'm not. Just because I'd be drawing the whole time. And it wouldn't be very interesting to like see this view of me.
With your head down at the drawing board.
Yeah. And mostly because when I'm on, I just have too much fun. I probably wouldn't be doing much work. So because I'm usually on that. I don't know when that'll come back. We're all pretty busy at the moment. So that started during COVID when we all everyone's kind of got the pencils down mandate. No one had any work. So we just decided to make something up that we could do.
Yeah.
And it was also like the driving force of it. So we're super fun to do that.
That's really
and I'm sure we'll come back to it.
Yeah. And then the other thing, because when you mentioned that you guys are all busy right now, is because, you guys got a lot of upcoming projects. But also, too, conventions are pretty much back in full swing.
I know they are.
Yeah. So
kind of scary to think about, because I don't know if the things that are going on are quite done yet.
Yeah.
Things are picking back up, and I am going to a few.
Yes.
In the near future.
Okay. And then I'll towards the end, I'll ask you like which con appearances and so forth will you be?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Also, I wanted to let listeners know that I did get information from Tom's website, tomreillyart.com, and also I checked out the audio podcast interview that you did last year. It was the Jacked Kirby podcast, and that was episode 155. That was a real good. I like that show. That was very good.
Was that last year? Was that not only a few months ago? No.
I don't know.
Time may have flown by.
No, no. Because all I know is that you guys were. I know they were talking about the Thing miniseries, And I know you just kind of briefly mentioned, yeah, I'm doing an Antman miniseries, and that was it. So I just automatically assumed it's probably from last year because I think
it might have been this. I think it was this year because I was working on Antman. I think from February to a week ago, July. So about 6 months.
Yeah.
I think.
All right. And then lastly, I got information from the Comic Vine website. All right. So Tom, I'm going to ask, where can listeners follow you on social media?
I will mostly post stuff, my drawings, sketches, and things onto Twitter, Tom Reilly Art. It's just the same as my website. And also onto Instagram, Tom Reilly Art again. So those are the two places to most regularly keep up with my work. I'll usually just post little sketches and stuff on there, or just some bigger personal art pieces. I don't post a lot about what I'm working on until it's actually out, just because I don't know what I can really get away with showing on some of them, some of the things I'm doing. But if you want to check out some fun drawings I'm doing, that's where to do it. My website is not up to date at all.
Fine. Yeah.
So I need to update that at some point.
All right. So where did you grow up?
I grew up kind of in two places. The first part of my life I spent in Illinois, in like the Springfield area of Illinois.
Yeah.
So kind of a suburby town. It's where Abraham Lincoln lived in Illinois. So there's a bunch of Abraham Lincoln crap everywhere. There's a cool museum dedicated to him with all these creepy wax figures of him in like dioramas.
Yes.
And I lived there till I was about 10 years old. And then I moved to Mount Desert Island, Maine. And I lived there until I graduated from college, like 23 years old. So, and that's like an island in the middle of the ocean, like not quite Hawaii, middle of the ocean, but you have to cross a bridge to get there. And I lived in a town called Seal Harbor, Maine, that had a population of 72 people.
Wow. I mean, you guys, everybody pretty much knew everybody then.
You knew everybody, yeah. And when my family moved away, we probably decreased the population by like 8% or something. When we moved.
Wow.
So everybody knew each other. And it was a big tourist destination. I think year-round, 10,000 people lived on the island. And millions of people come during the summer to like do stuff on the island. It's where Acadia National Park is. It's a really nice national park. A lot of hiking, a lot of beaches. Not quite as nice and warm as Hawaii's beaches. Water is really cold, and there's no cool marine wildlife or anything. But it's still nice.
Yes, I'm kind of going, especially for the East Coast side. I mean, to literally kind of like almost like get away from, because the only part of the East Coast I've been to is Eastern Canada, Quebec. Just with a tour group.
It's cool.
Yeah, but just pictures I've seen on the news and stuff is like you see the beaches, but then you turn around, you still see the city, all the skyscrapers and stuff. But where you live, it's like when you go to the, sounds like when you go to the beach, you're like in a nice different paradise there, because when you turn around, it's all you see is nature.
Yeah, there's no buildings I think taller than 100 feet.
Yeah,
or anything. And they're supposed to be only 50 feet tall. There's a mandate, but some rich guy bought a block in the biggest town on the island and was just building taller buildings. Not very interesting to talk about, but yeah, it's cool. It's kind of secluded. It was a lot of fun for 4 months out of the year. The other 8 were like horrible winter.
Oh God,
and
yes.
Like it's a summer kind of tourist community, so the economy is based on tourism.
Yeah.
So half the year, all the fun stuff to do is like closed because there's no tourists there. So they all just go on vacation to like Florida and stuff, and then they come back in the summer and they open up their shops.
I understand.
I'm sure glad you know a lot about tourism. I'm sure.
Yes, but but for us, it's like our shops are open year round. But I'm going to say I understand when you say that there's some shops that are open during the summer and they close down when the fall starts rolling, and then they start moving. They have another shop in Florida that they go to.
Yeah.
Because me and my wife, we did an Alaskan tour years ago.
That's cool.
We went to, our first stop was Anchorage, and I can't remember where we heard it from. We heard something like, we were like, I think we were almost like the second to the last cruise before they closed before Anchorage, like kind of sort of closed down for the winter for tourism, for their tourism. And someone said, yeah, these shops, when they close, for the winter over here, they go to, and I remember they said Florida, because I don't know, one shop had like all over, like one was in Florida. I'm sure they have like other places, but I understood why it's kind of like a sort of a seasonal work thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that's where I grew up. Those two places.
All right. So, Tom, I'm going to ask, do you remember what was your first comic you read? It could be anything from manga, Sunday comics.
I don't remember exactly the first. I do know I had a lot of like Garfield collections.
Yeah.
I read a lot of Garfield when I was like a young kid. And I read a lot of The Far Side.
Oh my God, yes.
It was one of my favorites. It still holds up more than Garfield for me. But I think my favorite of those like Sunday strips is Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh my God.
Probably like a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think that Bill Watterson can draw anything. He's like really good. There's legitimate great draftsmanship.
Yes.
In Calvin and Hobbes.
And then let's see. Now correct me and it's off the cuff question. Now correct me if I'm wrong, because I think the first comic book you picked up or you started to read was Ultimate Spider-Man. Is that correct?
Yeah, the first like sequential, like kind of superhero book I got was Ultimate Spider-Man. And I thought it was awesome with Mark Bagley and Brian Michael Bendis.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't remember exactly. It was like a collection where in the very beginning, he like lost his costume. So he just didn't have it.
Yeah.
And Mary Jane like made him this crappy costume out of like a baggy shirt and a pair of like cargo pants. And he had like a mask with like a lens that was missing, and he wore that for the entirety of like the 5-issue trade paperback I had or something. I thought that was awesome that he just lost it. And he didn't have it for in real time like half a year.
Yeah.
He just didn't have his Spider-Man costume. I thought that was really funny.
I have to see that. Now I've read a couple issues of the Ultimate Spider-Man, but what you're telling me, that's pretty cool, because like, if they kind of did it like the half a year span, that's pretty cool to kind of really show like, okay.
I mean, comic book time, it was like a day.
Yeah.
But like readers had to wait like a month for it to come out. And it was like 4 issues or something that he just didn't have it. He like met the X-Men in one of them. The Ultimate X-Men, and they like brought him to the X-Mansion. And instead of his like long, baggy, long sleeve like Spider-Man shirt, he was just wearing an X-Men t-shirt with the X symbol on it, and his like Spider-Man gloves and mask and pants. And I think that's a great Spider-Man look. I've always thought it's funny.
So, now, you mentioned Brian Michael Bendis, Mark Bagley, who wrote and drew the Ultimate Spider-Man series. Did you ever meet them at a
I've never met
con?
them before. I've yet to meet them. It'd be nice. They're incredibly talented. And Bagley's been doing it forever.
Yes.
His Spider-Man is right up there with the best.
Yes.
Iconic. So, and I think the Ultimate books are his best work,
Yes.
probably. I really like that stuff. So maybe someday, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'd let them know that I appreciated what they did.
Oh, that would be really nice if you do meet him. You know, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, because usually I think like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at some conventions they'll probably have the artists, the creators come in a little bit early to set up their stuff. But I've seen pictures behind the scenes.
We're always kicking around before and after everything.
So who knows?
Maybe someday,
Yeah. All right. So Drew, the Comics for Fun and Profit co-host, submitted this question. Do you remember what was your very first comic shop that you went to?
I don't remember the name of it. It was in Springfield, Illinois. It was next to like a bowling alley. And I would go there before I got into comic book stuff. I'm pretty sure I bought the Ultimate Spider-Man book there. But I used to go there to buy, do you know what the Hero Clicks are?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to buy little Hero Clicks.
Yes.
I didn't play the game or anything. I know they were like attached to a game. Yeah. I just liked them as the little figures. So I would just go like buy little one-off Hero Clicks because I thought they were funny. And I just put them on my shelf.
Yeah.
Like a 7-year-old.
No, but I understand because I think, no, but I mean, like I said, I really understand because like, you know, action, you know, like they really, when you were growing up, they, you know, at that time, because I kind of sort of remember that time was, you know, they didn't really made pocket-sized action figures, or well, the only pocket-sized action figures were like just Star Wars and G.I. Joe.
I know that when I was around maybe 8 or 10 or something, that's when like I think the Marvel Legends started to come back, like Hasbro started making them again. I had like the first appearance Spider-Man action figure I remember, with like the black and the red. That is now worth like a lot of money.
Yeah.
I like lost it. It's like in a horrible condition now, but I remember having that specifically because I've seen nowadays that can be sold for a pretty penny.
But also too, but the Hero Clicks, if I remember correctly, they just, and you gotta refresh my memory, but they didn't just make the regular popular superheroes. They made, you know, like, wow, they made a bunch of them. I didn't figure they would make a MODOK or something like that, you know?
Yeah. As a 7-year-old or however old I was, I probably was not getting like the obscure characters. I probably had a lot of Spider-Man ones. I remember having specifically a pretty cool Spider-Man one, him like a little brick chimney or something.
Yeah,
they made them all. Yeah, they all had the little like, clicky thing at the bottom.
Yeah,
I didn't know what it did, but it was tactile and fun to spin around, so I did it.
No,
I have fond memories of that. I don't remember the name of the shop, unfortunately, but I hope they're still around.
Yeah. Okay. Now, how did your journey start working in comics?
I'm trying to think how to answer that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Because I think that I wanted to start drawing comic books when I was at the Rhode Island School of Design, RISD, because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do when I got there. I knew that if I could do something art related as a job, it would probably be pretty fun.
Yeah.
So I decided to try and get in there, and I did. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was originally thinking like animation or something, because they have a good animation program and stuff there. They didn't really have a lot of comic classes. I think they had one that I took when I decided that's what I wanted to do. It was around like 2014. I was maybe a sophomore in college when I started seeing like some art in comic books that I enjoyed seeing. It was like Chris Samnee's art. I like Doc Shaner's art a lot. That's why I kind of started. And it's also around that time is when I started using social media stuff a little bit more than I used to. So I kind of got to see that art a little more frequently.
Yeah.
And it made me think that I kind of wanted to make art like that and study artists with those similar kinds of sensibilities and see if I could glean some information from them. And that's kind of when I originally decided I wanted to make comic book art for a living, because I always liked it.
Yes.
But I didn't really know anything about how to do it. So I took those classes in college, and they were very demanding. Very demanding. It was like they wanted you to like every week pretty much hand in like 20 pages of either pencils and then inks or like and then layouts, like kind of a full comic book done in like increments every week. And it was a lot of work. It's more work than it takes to actually kind of make a real one. You usually get about double the time. Like you get like 6-ish weeks for a deadline, at least in my experience, on average. So it trained me to work fast.
Yes.
Which is nice. And then graduated. And I started to just post drawings I was making on social media. And started to gain a little bit of a following. And I'd heard, because I didn't really know how to get into the industry, the comic book industry. And there's not really one way.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I've learned if you ask 20 different people, it's probably 20 different answers as to how they got work. The one tried and true thing that I tried to like look it up was to go to conventions and like peddle little ash cans to different artists and editors and stuff. So I was staying at like my dad's house in Houston, Texas, and I just drew little 5-page ash cans. And I went to like a Boston convention and a Baltimore convention, and I just handed them out to people whose art that I liked. And that didn't get me a job, but it was valuable to meet those people and to actually do the work to consistently produce pages.
Yes.
Really what I ended up getting a job over was just consistently posting on social media, and then somebody noticed my stuff. And that is what turned into Astro Hustle with Dark Horse.
Oh, that's nice.
So
off the cuff question, can you ask, like, did you get an email, or
I just got a DM from Twitter. And that's it. And I think that social media, I think, is a pretty good tool for getting work nowadays. It can be kind of hard with algorithms and stuff to get your work noticed. But editors are always on the websites looking for different art. And you can't just walk into like the main office of DC Comics and put your portfolio on the desk anymore. I think you could do that back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's at least what I've heard.
Yeah.
But now you kind of have a platform where you can just put it out there and anyone can see it.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you, how did it feel to see your name on Astro Hustle the first time you saw it? How did you feel?
It felt good.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really feel good anymore. I don't know if you know what happened with that book.
No.
There was the writer. I'll tell.
Okay.
I'll talk about it. Just the writer of the book was accused of some inappropriate sexual behavior.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
okay. Yeah.
I quit the book. I heard that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, it was not an incredible situation.
Yeah.
And it was the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Cancel the book. Dark Horse, it was supposed to be 4 issues, and they canceled it after 2, which is the right decision. Felt good at first to see it. Yeah. Because it's like you made it, kind of. So
yes.
Dark Horse is a big publisher. But does not feel very good right now. It probably never will. I'm sorry for that sad answer.
No, I'm sorry that happened.
I'm not sorry about what happened to me. I'm sorry for everyone else that it affected. So,
but also
things took a turn though.
Yeah.
Positively for me, which is nice.
Yes.
I wasn't sure I'd ever get any more work because it's your first book and nobody really knows who you are.
Yeah.
And after your book gets canceled like that, you don't know if it's hard enough to get in and it's hard to stay in. So you never know.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I got more work and now I'm here.
Yeah.
But
thankfully, because it sounds like you're doing. It sounds like just going over your comic book work history is you're doing. It looked like you're doing a lot of work for Marvel. Off the cuff question, can I ask you, how did you get hooked up with Marvel?
Just similar way to how I got hooked up with Dark Horse, is I just kept posting consistently on social media, just like sample pages, sequential pages. If anyone who's interested in making comic books is listening to this, editors want to see actual comic book sequential pages. Pinups are nice. And if you can do a really good pinup, that is awesome. They want it, but they want to see sequential storytelling.
Yes.
And that's something that an artist told me when I sent them my ash can at a convention. So I took that advice and I just started drawing little sample pages, sets of them, and posted them. And eventually I just got an email from Will Moss, who's an editor for Thor and all the kind of Thor adjacent properties at Marvel. And he asked me to do the word Thor the Worthy. Yeah.
Yes.
Part of that anthology. So it's just consistent posting of material, new stuff that I'm working on.
Yes. So, and then that's what I'm going to say. It's a very good segue on new stuff that you're working on, because I'm going to shift the focus onto the Antman miniseries. And I didn't know this, that Antman is celebrating its 60th anniversary.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off with this question at first. I'm going to switch it around a little bit. How did you get this awesome gig?
I'm trying to think of how I got it, because honestly, I don't really know. It's not very interesting. I think I just got an email from Darrin Shan.
Yeah.
I worked on X-Men Marvel Snapshot with.
Yeah.
We, before COVID hit, were working on an issue of Doctor Strange.
Oh, okay.
That Mark Waid was writing. And right at the midway point of us working on that, the book got canceled because of COVID.
Oh, I knew
because of the supply chain issues, and they had to cancel a lot of books and put some other books on hold. So that was a casualty of that. And since then, we wanted to work together on something. And he came to me after I was almost done with the thing, asked if I wanted to work with Al on this Antman book, and I said yeah. So that's it.
Okay, now for listeners, I'm going to ask without any spoilers. Can you just give us what is the miniseries of the Antman miniseries about?
It is kind of a celebration of the legacy of the Antman character.
Yes,
because there have been multiple Ant-Men through history. There's been Hank Pym, the original. There's been Scott Lang, who's the most famous for sure. And then Eric O'Grady, who's just not a very good guy.
Yeah.
And probably a lesser known Ant-Man for sure. And so it's a celebration of the history of the character. And we've incorporated some time travel into it. We've created our own Ant-Man of the future, who has a reason for wanting to interact with all these characters and bring them together.
Yes.
In a way they've never been brought together before. And I can't tell you what that reason is.
Yeah.
But it is a fun time travel caper featuring all of the Ant-Men. Every issue, I kind of draw it a little bit differently to fit the time period. Issue 1, I did my best Don Heck impression because he was the artist on these Tales to Astonish books that I was kind of using as research.
Yes.
Took kind of the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Because some of the issues are a little bit rushed through. I tried to do the same thing, kind of. I didn't really pay attention to what I was drawing when I was drawing it, so that maybe if I forgot to put something in a page that was in a previous page, I would just leave it. Because that's what I think that's what Don would have done. He also used to love, in like every issue of Ant-Man I looked at that he drew, he would just put a little matchbook next to Ant-Man to show that he had gotten small. And he just put a really big matchbook next to him.
Oh, okay.
So I did that for one of my shots, and I'm proud of that.
Oh, okay.
Because there's no way to really tell that he got small unless you put something that is usually really small next to him. He picked a matchbook every time, even if there was like nowhere to put it in the actual scene. He just shoved it in.
Oh, but so listen, for listeners, I before we started the interview, I told Tom I read the first issue. I think it's great. Tom, I love, like you said, to me you captured the 1960s look, not only of the setting where Hank and Janet are in the 60s, but the thing is, but I also love how you guys also did almost like the how you guys made the page look a little bit yellowish. The color is not as bright. It's almost like literally it's almost like it reminded me of when I read like those old like I'm not making this up because I still have it. This old 1960s comic book their covers are gone, but it's all reprints of when Jack Kirby drew Ant-Man's origin, Ditko, the reprint, and it's just, you see the paper, it's all yellow, the colors are faded, because I remember reading that as a kid. And when I was reading Ant-Man #1, just seeing that, it kind of it just brought me back to those memories of, oh my
Yeah.
God, yeah, you know.
And that was all Jordy too. It was all her idea.
Mm-hmm.
I just turned in the black and whites, and she put all the color on it. And she's one of the best in the business, so I'm excited to be working with her. And that was all her idea. And just like I'm like drawing things differently every issue, she's coloring differently every issue.
Oh,
So
okay.
we've gotten a lot of room to experiment on this one, which is a lot of fun.
And I think what's and I'm not going to spoil anything because I know the previews world already have the solicits out for each issue, because I think the great thing about this miniseries is you guys are going through the different time periods of Antman history. And you're just trying to capture the flavor and the feel of it. And that's great.
That is it, is the essence. Issue 2, I do my best Hester impression, Phil Hester and Andy Parks. I dip into that wheelhouse a little bit. That was super fun. Apologies to Phil. But and then Jordy colored it very similar to how it was colored back in the day. So
now for that second issue of Phil Hester, trying to capture the Phil Hester feel, I'm just asking, did you reach out to Phil, go, hey, my name's Tom?
I did not reach out to Phil. I do like Phil, and I've met him before.
Oh, okay.
But I did not reach out to him. I just thought I would do it in honor of him.
Yeah.
He'll see it later probably, and
okay,
I'll say sorry.
No. Now, off the cuff question. So, when you saw these, what were your thoughts when you saw Al's script and the idea of doing this 4-part miniseries of, basically Antman's legacy?
I thought it would be a lot of fun. I thought it could be challenging, and it was, because 4 parts kind of going through history lends itself to maybe several different art styles being used, which is what I ended up doing. And that takes a lot more thought than just doing what you know through the whole 4, which I could have done probably, and it would have worked. But I wanted to try something a little bit different, and that always comes with a little more work, a little more effort, mental kind of gymnastics to figure out how you're going to do it. So that was exciting to me. And also the scripts are all really fun.
Yes.
And I'm not going to tell you anything that are in them.
Yeah.
They're all very fun, and they show a deep understanding of the character. I know Alice said that Antman is one of his favorites, and you can tell.
Nice, yeah.
And maybe I think I like Antman a bunch more than maybe I did before I started drawing the book.
Yes, yeah. I mean,
he's cool. And the shrinking power is super fun. It's fun to draw.
But I'm going to say I understand where you're coming from, because because reading some of the, like when the Antman came out in the 1960s, it was kind of interesting. His villains were not that great, or that memorable. Like Egghead is the only one I only can remember of.
There's not many memorable Ant-Man villains, except for if you count Ultron.
Yes.
Who he created, which is maybe one of the most memorable Marvel villains.
Yeah.
Besides Dr. Doom and all of Spider-Man's villains.
But like you said, for Al's love of Ant-Man, and your artwork in the first issue to capture the 1960s feeling, like I said, that first issue is great. I love it because it shows the fun. It looks back with fondness and love, and also has fun with it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, now this is a process question. It's from Drew. Were you given full scripts for doing this series?
I was with Al given full scripts, just like panel breakdowns of what he wanted in every panel on every page, and that was helpful to me, of course. Sometimes the less you have to think, the smoother everything is. A lot of it comes down to instincts when you're working on a deadline. So, and sometimes you don't know what some people want. It makes you question what you need to put in. Al told me what he wanted, and I put it in, and I added some stuff myself.
Yeah,
that he was cool with.
That's nice.
And so it was nice. It was very fun. It was a fun ride.
Yeah, that is really nice. Let's see. I know you already gave a shout out to Jordi Belair, the colorist. You also gave a shout out to your editor, Darrin. Is there anyone else do you want to give a shout out to your letterer? I'm just asking.
Of course, yeah. Corey Pettit. He did some awesome stuff with the letters. He brought Thought Bubbles back for issue 1.
That's right.
I love.
I forgot about that.
That lends a lot to the classic 60s look.
Yes.
And then he also came up with these awesome kind of future-y captions for the future parts of the book.
Yes.
That are, I don't want to spoil anything about it. They kind of tell you how you're supposed to read the book as the reader. It's kind of a meta commentary from Al, and I like just the shape of those boxes. It's pretty funny. And then Caitlin Grigorowitz is the assistant editor. She's very nice. She helped Darrin keep the whole thing together. And it was nice to work with both of them. Nice to work with Darrin again. He's a cool guy.
Yeah. That's nice.
So the whole team is very nice. It was a pleasure to work on the book, and I'm excited for people to see the other issues. It seems like people like issue 1, which is a lot better than them not liking issue 1.
Yes. Yes.
I think.
All right. Now, no spoilers, and I know I'm jumping ahead. And like I said, I read the preview solicit about issue 4 is the final issue of this miniseries. I'm just asking, how wild is issue 4 going to be?
How wild will it be? I think pretty wild. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was a lot of hard work to make, so it's kind of a wild ride to draw it. The way that I draw the future scenes is kind of the most simple style of all 4 issues, but it's by far the hardest to put together. And I don't know if that's going to fully translate to the reader, how much I had to bust my ass to get it done. But I hope they enjoy it. And I think it gets pretty nuts. It's pretty fun. It was very fun to draw. So.
Okay. All right. Now, what is your top 3 bucket character or books you want to go to work on next or in the future? And just go for it. It doesn't have to be traditional stuff. It doesn't have to be Spider-Man. It can be a comic or a character that you love while growing up. Something, some random comic that you bought 2 or 3 issues and it was gone. Some obscure character you like to bring back.
You're going to love this answer, probably. Spider-Man is number 1.
Yeah.
Because I've always liked the character Spider-Man. I think everybody does. He'd be super fun. He's most of my sketches that I do for fun are Spider-Man, various different Spider-Men. So I would love a crack. I had one in the Halloween special, but I'd love a proper sequential kind of grid page go with Spider-Man. I think that'd be fun. I'm a big Conan the Barbarian fan.
Oh, yeah.
I love the Schwarzenegger movie.
Yes.
I like that kind of high fantasy, high adventure stuff. I think that would be super fun to draw. So I would love a shot at Conan or similar character.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm trying to think of the third one.
I mean,
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
I like Booster Gold a lot from DC.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Or Booster Gold or like a Lobo book.
Yeah.
Lobo's pretty fun. But Booster Gold is very fun.
Yeah.
And then also I put forward something maybe I come up with myself or with somebody else.
Yeah.
So it would be very fun.
All right. Now, if DC comes calling, literally, after they hear this interview, they give you a call. Hey, we want to do a 6-part Booster Gold. We're going to have, I'm trying to think of someone's name, James Tinian IV. You want to do it?
I can't right now. I might be busy. I might be busy right now. I may have to wait a little bit. But I know a lot of people who know James, and I know people who are working with him now, and he's a very nice guy. And also won the Eisner Award for Best Comic Book Writer again.
Yeah.
So he's one of the best.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what they're all doing with him. And it'd be tough to turn down that book for sure if I were offered that in a hypothetical scenario.
Oh, yeah. All right. I'm just going to switch around the questions just a little bit because I want to go back. I want to ask you a question that you talked about on the Jacked Kirby podcast, because it's you did a short story for now. I'll just ask the question. So, how was it working with Chris Claremont for his Paragon collection? And now, for listeners, what I briefly read in, I think it's the Comic Book Resources article, is that I think it's like it's Marvel made Paragon collection. It kind of sounds like it's more of an exclusive Marvel sort of crowdfunding thing, that if it's fully funded, they'll release it or something. Now, of course, it's closed now. They did reach their goal. They have at that time, when they closed it was like 2,085 people had pre-ordered this book. So I'm going to ask, can you talk a little bit about that Chris Claremont Paragon collection and how you got involved?
I think so, yeah. That's something that not a lot of people know about, I think, because it was an exclusive kind of Kickstarter run thing.
Yes.
It was a whole collection of Chris Claremont's X-Men run in the 80s. It was like this big. And it was technically a Wolverine comic that I drew for him, but it featured like all of the X-Men like fighting Sabretooth. And it was really awesome. I don't know what I'm allowed to really share about it. I've shared some panels or pages from it on my Twitter way back, but it was a stretch goal, so they'd already met their goal of like funding, and this was just a little extra they tacked on.
Nice.
And it had a Steve McNiven cover that was really good, and it was a lot of fun to draw. Talking about writers who know what they want you to draw, Chris Claremont knows exactly what he wants you to draw. So
now I'm going to ask, so how did you get the call to work with Chris?
I just got an email again. I had just finished. I was just about to finish something, and I got an email from an editor that I'd worked with before, Annalise Vissa. I knew her last name. I just didn't know if I was going to say it. I paused. And she just asked me if I wanted to do this thing with the X-Men, and I said yes. Getting to draw all of the X-Men is, of course, with Chris Claremont writing. That might be a bucket list thing. That's what a lot of people would probably want to do. So,
and also,
it was very fun to do.
And
And nobody's seen it. No one except for the however many people got the book. 2,000 people have seen it.
Yeah, because
So, not in shops or anything. Nobody knows that I drew that pretty much. But it's super fun to have worked with Chris on with all the X-Men, except Cyclops wasn't in it. Sadly, he's my favorite.
Mm-hmm. But I have to say, but for you to work with Chris Claremont for an exclusive thing, that's incredible. Like you said, it's a bucket list.
It was a lot of fun. He's the guy who defined the X-Men.
Yeah.
The modern X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it was definitely fun.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. So let me ask you. So this is what I'm going to ask your next question is because I know on your website, you post some like action figures. How big of an action figure fan are you?
I made those in college just because I thought it'd be fun.
Yeah.
It was like I had an option to do an independent study senior year that I could have used to like get better at drawing comic books. But I, for some reason, decided to make action figures instead. Just because I wanted to try sculpting stuff. Because I thought it looked fun. And I thought it might inform my drawing somehow, being able to work in 3D.
Yes.
Can help inform how you draw in 2D. They were about 7 inches tall, or maybe they were like 5 inches tall.
Yeah.
They were like He-Man.
Yes.
Figures, like 5 points of articulation.
Yeah, which is cool. Yeah.
That's what I was inspired by. I like went to an old toy store and bought a cruddy little He-Man action figure, and I just what I did to I had to like sculpt all the pieces out of clay, like sculpting, and I had to learn how to make molds and stuff. And I actually molded and cast the pieces out of like plastic. So they're actual plastic pieces, and they connect because I took this old He-Man figure and I popped his arms off, and the arms have the little kind of socket on them.
Yes.
They stick on. I just stuck that socket in a little like tray of rubber, and I molded that socket. And then that's what I used as like the connector for the arms and stuff, because I had no idea how to do that. So I just stole it from He-Man action figures, and they held up. Because I've never tried to do it since. I just thought it would be a fun thing to do while I had the resources, because Risky had like a really nice kind of sculpture department where I could go and like work in a ventilated environment where I'm not inhaling the fumes from resin and plastic and rubber, because they are pretty volatile. So I just figured I'd try something I probably would never try to do again while I had the chance. And I thought they looked pretty cool.
They did.
So they were cool enough for somebody to steal them. Somebody stole them right before I left. It was like the day before I moved out. Somebody just took them. So I no longer have them. I do have the molds, I'm pretty sure, though. I could make more. I'm probably not going to do that.
Yeah,
I'd sooner sculpt new ones and do a better job.
Yeah.
Make ones out of those.
But because those action figures, because you made 3 action figures and you did your cardboard backing too, and it was called, was it Romulus? The Romulus Flex action?
Romulus Flex, that was his name, yeah.
You know.
He was like a space bounty hunter. And the villain was like a guy with a T-Rex head.
Yes, I saw it.
And yeah, I had a friend who was in the furniture department who had access to a vacuum forming machine, and she helped me create like a buck.
Yeah.
That I could vacuum form like the plastic clamshell over the cardboard backing that I made. And that was super cool. It looked really legit, actually.
Yeah.
And I made a full size, you know how you see in like a toy store or something, a cutout with a cardboard cutout.
Yes.
I made a full size, like 6 foot Romulus Flex. cardboard cutout.
Mm-hmm.
I stuck him up, and I bought like a pegboard at Home Depot.
Uh-huh.
I chopped it down, and
Yeah.
I stuck them all on the pegboard. And that was my like senior exhibit at school.
That is so cool.
And then somebody stole all of it.
Yeah. I'm just throwing off the cuff question. Have you thought of doing your own Romulus Flex comic?
I thought about it in college when I made them because all the He-Man figures came with the mini comics in them.
Yeah.
But then that was like, it was enough work already to make the figures, so I wasn't going to make the mini comic too. Plus, I wasn't any good at making comic books in college, really. I had a lot to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't any good at making the figures either, probably. I think I could do better now.
Oh, no, yeah. But on your website, it looked awesome. It did.
My girlfriend took the pictures of them, and she made them look a lot better than they do look in person.
But I'm just asking, like when you have free time, let's say in the next year or two, you ever thought of like doing your own Romulus Flex comics?
I don't know if I would explore his origin any further.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. If I have any free time, I'm probably going to take it to like actually relax, just kick back.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't get to do a lot of that at the moment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe stay away from the drawing board for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Which is tough to do. I'll like get a week off or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or a few days off after I finish an issue.
Yeah.
And like a day later, I'm wanting to draw something again.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I know that I should probably take a break.
Mm-hmm. I'm slowly wrapping things up, Tom.
All right.
What is the most fun or exciting thing that you love working in comics right now?
It's a tough question. Can I just say that I like all of it?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
it's not a great answer, but it's kind of all fun for different reasons.
Yeah.
And I like the challenge of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy. Not everybody can do it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I like kind of wrestling with it, figuring out how I'm going to do it.
Yes.
And then trying to execute it
mm-hmm.
to the best of my abilities. Everything kind of has its own thing I like about it, all the different steps of making a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
I got to try and find something to like in it, or else it'd be really hard to continue doing it.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
But I like seeing it all finished at the end. You don't really get to see it all completed until it comes out. I don't like get sent a PDF with all the word balloons in there or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I just get to see it when everyone else gets to see it. And I enjoy that.
Yeah.
Getting to see kind of the fruits of the labor.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be the thing No, that's not the thing I like the most. I think I just like making it in general.
Yeah.
And no matter what other people think of it, if I enjoy my time making it, then that's enough for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No, but yeah. No, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Couple more questions. Favorite convention moment, either as a fan or as a creator?
It might be the last convention I was at before COVID was New York Comic Con 2019.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I had just joined Modern Mythology Comic Art.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy who runs that, Josh Raybuck, became my art representative. So as soon as I joined him, he got me into New York Comic Con like the next day, which is very nice.
Wow.
I think to do. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of talented artists who he also reps, who I guess recommended me
mm-hmm.
to him to like represent, which is nice of him.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite convention moment is probably getting to meet all of them in person, because it's a solitary business. Making comic books, it's kind of tough to make friends. You don't really see much anybody while you're drawing. So it was nice to meet them all in person and make personal connections with them. And I think ever since, we've all kind of been friends. We talk pretty much every day. That's got to be it, probably.
That is so cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, they're all very fun people.
All right, you mentioned before that you've got some upcoming convention appearances. So where are you gonna convention appearances in August, September, like sometime in either mid-August or September.
I need to check the calendar real quick. When these things are. I'm going to be at Fan Expo Boston. And that is, let me find out here. FanExpoHQ.com. August 12th to 14th.
Okay. All right.
I'll be in Boston.
Okay.
And then if my passport situation is figured out, I may have sent out some paperwork to get a renewal on my passport today. From August 25th to 28th, I'll be in Toronto for Fan Expo Canada.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Which I've heard is a really fun show. I hope I get to make it. I've heard from multiple people that it's super fun.
Okay, yeah.
And then in October 6th through 9th, I'll be at New York Comic Con again.
Oh, that's going to be nice.
I'll be sharing a table with my friend Rosie Gifford. So she offered to split one with me, which is nice. New York Comic Con tables are not cheap. So
that'll
be fun to go back. I like New York.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work though. It's like an actual business trip. They're all business trips.
Oh no, yeah. Couple more questions. Have you and your family been to Hawaii?
I've been there once. I think it was in like 2011 or something.
Yeah.
I may have actually been there twice.
Okay.
And it was like the same kind of area. I think I went to like Waikiki Beach.
Yeah.
And I went to like a black sand beach. It was super cool. I went to the beach that they filmed Lost at.
Oh. Well, I'm just trying to remember what beach it was, but yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. And there were like a bunch of sea turtles just on the beach, and we just kind of looked at them.
Yeah.
Because I learned that touching a sea turtle is a federal crime.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So I didn't.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
Yeah.
But they were cool. They were big. They were like very big. I can't really think of something to compare them to, like size-wise, that people would really understand how big they are.
Yeah. All right. Any closing words to our listeners?
God, wait. One more thing about Hawaii. I just
yeah, that's fine.
Because I feel like this is something people don't usually get. My stepbrother lived in Hawaii for like 10 years or something.
Yeah.
He used to be in the military. He used to be a submarine operator in the military.
Wow.
In the Navy. So he got us like a private tour of like the Pearl Harbor airstrip, like military base, because like people can't go there anymore.
Yeah.
So we just drove around Pearl Harbor. It was kind of cool.
Oh, that's nice.
It was interesting to see, and there were still like ships jutting out of the ocean from what happened at Pearl Harbor, and they were still leaking like oil and like fuel.
Yes,
pretty nuts. So that's an interesting thing.
Yeah,
and then that's my experience with Hawaii. It was very fun.
Any closing words to our listeners?
Thank you for listening. And if you pick up my books, either before this or because of this interview, I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Me and the teams who worked on the books worked very hard on them.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you.
So, Tom, mahalo. Thank you in Hawaii. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview you. I wish you all the success with the Antman miniseries. I also want to thank Sue, for help setting up this interview. If you are a new comic book reader or a lifelong comic book reader, please check out the 4-part Antman miniseries. The first issue is out already. The second issue comes out on August 31st. I'm just going to throw this in here. I read the first issue. I love it. Tom, Al and Tom in that first issue captured the sense of the 1960s. It shows a real love for the Antman character, and it's really great. And I forgot to mention this, Tom, but I love that last page where I believe your editor Darrin included that. I think they put references to I think the villains that appeared in issue number 1, like, this is where you can find them in this issue, in this issue. That is really cool. That's great.
Yeah, that'll open up it'll maybe show a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Different Ant-Man stories.
Yes.
That they may not have read before. That are pretty fun.
Also, too, I want to also mention Tom also drew the Thing miniseries, and the next big thing trade paperback again comes out probably sometime either end of August or the beginning of September. If you have not read that series, if you get a chance, please pick up that trade paperback. I want to thank Drew, the host of Comics for Fun and Profit. Drew, thank you very much for putting this episode together and all your hard work behind the scenes. Now, if you are a new listener, please check out new episodes of Comics for Fun and Profit that comes out every Saturday. And I want to thank you, the listeners. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening to this episode. Until next time, guys, aloha.
Thank you, aloha.
Jason's always asking who his next interview should be. As you guys know, he does a fantastic job reaching out to these creators, their publicists, their publishers, various people coordinating these interviews and sharing them with us. And we appreciate it very much. But he's always trying to do more. He's always asking for the right mix to reach out for. So I'm opening it up to you guys. Just share on our social media platforms, send us an email, let us know who you want us to interview, what your dream interview people are, or up and comers you'd like to hear from. Jason only has so many hours in the day, and he has quite a schedule, but he'd love to hear your thoughts and any other feedback you have on the interview episodes. Thanks again for listening. We appreciate it.